do with injured forwards João Pedro and Isak? Well, it's a question the FPL experts are considering ahead of Game Week 5 with significant injuries to deal with in their team reveals. Help me get this one to 500 likes and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get into it. I started by asking the experts for their favourite forward picks, beginning with those priced between 7 and 9 million, and it was pretty conclusive here. Ollie Watkins leading the way with 80% of the vote. Now, we saw him icing his foot after their Champions League game on Tuesday night, but Unai Emery said that he's absolutely fine, so we have to bear that in mind from the manager. But some great underlying numbers from Watkins, including 4 big chances on goal in Game Week 4. He got his brace. It could have been so much more. And if he is fully fit, bearing in mind he managed 83 minutes in the Premier League last weekend, then he is the one to go for. We need a plan for Watkins. Now, looking at the forwards priced under 7 million now, and some really interesting results. Obviously, João Pedro picked up an injury for Brighton. He missed out in Game Week 4. He also failed to make the League Cup squad. Manager Herzler was pretty coy on his availability for Game Week 5. 35% of the experts believe that he is the best forward at this price point, obviously if he's fit, but with 40% of the vote, Dominic Calvert-Lewin now leads the way, and he's had a great start to the season. He's played his way into form. The only concern is, can he stay fit? That's his biggest barrier to FPL points. Chris Wood with 15% of the votes, and 10% also looking at Jamie Vardy after he has started the season rolling back the years. Let's have a look at how the experts team fared in Game Week 4 then, and absolutely no returns from the defence, which was disappointing given there were some promising fixtures in there. Now, moving into the attack, again a bit of a disaster. Haaland captain, the only player to deliver any points with a brace. Luckily, because João Pedro missed out altogether, Smith Rowe did come off the bench with 7 points. Those were crucial, taking us to 47 points for Game Week 4, but it was a red arrow, down to 2.2 million overall. Going into Game Week 5, the experts team has 1 free transfer and 0.4 million in the bank. Let's see how that fares in the league standings then. In 49th place with 265 points overall. No significant changes in the top 10. We see Mahmoud Al-Zubi remain on top spot with 332 points in the top 5k managers in the year. FPL Mirror and FPL Juice's Ash move up into position 2 and 3. With Tactics dropping down, Aidan and FPL Graduates Ben up in the league as Dean Jones and FPL Tips see a drop. And entering the top 10, we see Gian Batra and FPL Updates and Tips. Some solid scores from each of them there. And 9 of the top 10 have hit that big 300 point barrier, which takes them to the top 150k in the world. Let me know in the comments how your start to the season has fared. Would you make the top 10 in the Experts Community Team Invitational League, the best 100 managers here? Have you got yourself into that top 10, or are you simply beating the Experts Community Team itself? Now, when it comes to transfer plans for this week, before sending out the general poll, I did ask the experts when to play the first wildcard, and it was almost a unanimous decision that we should look to wildcard in Game Week 6, and given the issues in our squad, I don't think that's a bad idea, but that strategy then influences the transfer plans for Game Week 5. 62% of the experts opting to not make a transfer, because the thing is, the transfer, essentially it costs 4 points, and if it doesn't pay off in Game Week 5, the wildcard is then a firm stopping point. So unless you can see a clear 4-point gain from a transfer on the week previous to the wildcard, you're way better rolling. Remember that you can keep your free transfers that you've accumulated when you hit the wildcard button with the new rules in FPL this season. In terms of other transfers out, 14% looking to lose Vardiol and also 14% looking to lose Isak. Obviously, João Pedro's status as one of the best budget forwards in the game sees the experts being a little bit more patient with him, 9% looking to move him on, 1% sick of Barco and Robinson in the defence, but they're perhaps issues to deal with on wildcard rather than with that one free transfer this week. In terms of the players coming in, well, it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin with 14% of the vote that remains a key target for the experts. And in terms of those defensive moves, Robertson with 10% of the vote. That Liverpool defence still looking attractive despite conceding their first goal of the season against Nottingham Forest. Also a little bit of interest in the budget picks from Ipswich, with Greaves getting 10% of the vote and Davis getting 4% of the vote. Here's how the Experts community team lines up for game week 5 then, and it's home comforts for the defence. We've got Henderson with a big game for him personally at home to Manchester United, and then in the back line we've got Robinson at home to Newcastle United, Vardiol at home to Arsenal, not the easiest fixtures for them, and Porro at home to Brentford. Now we've got Harwood-Bellis at the bench at home to Ipswich. I think if Southampton hadn't opted to play a back four with Harwood-Bellis on the bench at the start of game week 4, then he may have disrupted this back line, but hopefully he's there if we need him. Moving into the midfield, Salah and Jota obviously keeping their places for Bournemouth at home. It is positive fixtures here with Rodgers at home to Wolves and Eze at home to Manchester United, and the experts did vote narrowly to bench Smith Rowe again at home to Newcastle, despite 2 attacking returns in 2 home games this season. But he may be needed because obviously in the attack we've got Isak and João Pedro, both currently flagged, both doubts for game week 5. We could find ourselves pretty thin on the ground here. And then we've also got Haaland at home to Arsenal, a huge game at the top of the Premier League table already. Now, when it came to captaincy, I did ask the experts and it was a unanimous decision with 100% voting to captain Salah at home to Bournemouth. That's pretty interesting results there. So we've got to bear that in mind in our decision making. If you found this one useful, hit the like button. We're going for 500 likes. Let me know in the comments how you fare compared to the experts team, and hit the notify button because tomorrow at 1 o'clock I'm going to be going live for the press conference stream with important updates on the fitness of these forwards that are flagged in the game. You do not want to miss it. Thank you for watching.